Let's go. Lace them up. Crowd loud. Lights low. This is Fast Break. IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Tip it off. We're live from the jump. Full court pressure when the baseline thump. NBA nights. WNBA shine. College hoops madness when it's bracket time. Men's game, women's game. Every big take. One pass, one steal, one slam. Summer league, dream fever. Worldwide Olympic gold with the game on the line. From the paint to the three. From the post to college history. Every league, every team. Fast break brings that hardwood dream. Run the floor, let it fly. Touch the rim, kiss the sky. Every league, every take. Davidson, Crooks, and Locke on the break. From the court to the street. Bringing hoops with the heat. IE Sports Radio locked in. Of course, your direct feed for all that is sports. Dentarius, Locke, locked in. Davidson, Crooks with the courtside spin. Breaking down the stars, the grind, the crown. Fast breaks got the whole game locked down. WNBA battles, NBA lights, college rivalries, tournament nights, FIBA, Olympics, summer league shake. If it's hoops, we got it. Fast break. This is Fast Break with Davidson, Crooks, and Dentarius, Locke, IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Hope y'all like the new intro we started for premiered last week. D-Lock, I was telling you before, I was cheesing through that promo with the founder Larry B. I was like, damn, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's real nice,
The
right?
intro and the outro. Well, the outro y'all see here after we get done the show. But on this June 14th, this very hot, muggy June 14th, and some of y'all probably looking at me and seeing why I'm on a hoodie. Well, because, something that can pretty fit me pretty good. But anyways, getting past all that, D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
Doing pretty good. I was expecting to have a little bit more NBA games throughout this season, but the Knicks got it done. So definitely big congrats to New York Knicks. I know New York fans are going crazy. We've seen it all week.
Yeah, man. It's wild. It's wild that how this finals, it's a lot of anticipation, a lot of, buzz, like good buzz for the league.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, you got one of your story franchises in the NBA. Despite them not being good at times and whatnot, and we talked about on the show for years, they always get a draw. Whether it's in their city or on TV. The Knicks are a draw, good or bad. And then on the other side of things, you got the young up-and-comer in Victor Wembanyama, who, I don't know, D-Lock, could next year we could be talking about potential NBA MVP. As a good positive. I mean, the way his play is, and we'll talk about more on the show, what he got to do to get better and his team better. But the way he plays, the way he exudes confidence and whatnot and leadership, I think it was a great combustible thing right here for the finals.
Mm-hmm.
The young star, I don't want to say old guard, but the story franchise, granted, the young star is with the story franchise in itself, the Spurs, who've won 5 NBA titles in their own right, more than the Knicks. So we had a great finals, man. I enjoyed every game. There were no big blowouts per se. So overall, what you thought of the finals overall from game 1 to game 5?
I think it was very very interesting. I really was hoping to see more games throughout the series. In my opinion, I think the Knicks dominated this series. They took control. Even on even with them having players that could possibly been out. Kind of like uh, Carlton Towns in foul trouble. The last game, they still found a way. Jalen Brunson was incredible. Um, Victor played pretty well, but I think the Bigs gave the Spurs big issues. But I think it was a great series. I'm pretty sure it had a lot of basketball fans standing up and wanting to see the Knicks win. And that's what we've seen. I mean, it was a classic. You've seen a lot of former Knicks players. A lot of celebrities at the games. So it was big. Um, it just went by so fast. You know what I mean? I was hoping to see some more games, but a very good series.
Yep. For me, overall, I think when the Knicks ran Cleveland out the gym, and Knicks fans were already like clamoring to have Victor and the Spurs in the finals, and I was like one of those people like, I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know about that because seemed like a dude that thrives. I won't say negativity or come at me, bro, whatever type of you want to say. But I think that's something you don't wouldn't awake a person like that.
Right.
Want those problems, and once that problem trickles down, you can't stop that type of problem.
Mm-mm.
I think fortunately for the Knicks, fortunately for the Knicks, you know, they took advantage of some key things that swung their way. They took advantage of key things that swung their way. Going back to Game 4, I think when Lisa Salters brought up talking to Mike Brown, if we just play our game, we'll get our run in.
Mm-hmm.
Ass kick in Game 4. Let's be real about that. They're getting ass kicked. And I like to live tweet during the game. I tweet out stats, all that good stuff. I put my phone down and just kind of just watch the game for a little bit. I'm like, okay, nothing really popping, blah 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 blah. I put a tweet here and down there, and then it just kept going. It kept going. Game 4, they started chipping away. And I was saying to watching the game, I was saying to the TV, talking to the TV, I said, Miss Johnson, get a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Johnson, get a timeout. 6 minutes left in the game. Miss Johnson, get a timeout. 10-0 run by the Knicks. Miss Johnson, get a timeout. OG doing a whole bunch of things. Miss Johnson, get a timeout. And just like the entertainment and stuff like that, and all that going on, and then Brunson, before OG hit the tip in, Brunson hit that big time 3-pointer over Victor. And the Garden just went alive right there. Like so much so you had people on the damn court and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a vibe, with New York. And then, I did a short D-Log for our Instagram page. You couldn't play in Game 4 in De'Aaron Fox. Everybody trying to poke at De'Aaron Fox for his poor play. If you're gonna say poor play as a whole in the finals, yeah, you can get on to that. You can't lay down the feet on Game 4 in De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were up 29.5. You were kicking ass.
Yes.
You were kicking ass.
That's not all on De'Aaron Fox. Definitely, if you go about damn near 30.
So to put all that on him, and his mistakes and what he did in that fourth quarter and whatnot, you can't put that whole game on him. Why this did just like a minute ago about Miss Johnson? That's on coaching. Because once that crowd got back into it, because I watched the Wu-Tang Clan. I love the Wu-Tang Clan. I got my crate right here. I don't think I got their thing in there right up. But I like the Wu-Tang Clan. They were dead. I heard they were dead for the Wu-Tang Clan for the most part. And he fought early in the third quarter, man. It's like, damn. The Spurs kind of probably figured out. But then I think a thing with them, we'll talk about later what the Spurs can do. The roster still needs some tinkering before we get to the final product.
Yeah.
And the offense, it still went. They're still trying to jack threes and stuff like that. I understand you were hot. I know Julian Champagne was hitting threes. Stephon Castle had 18 points in that fourth quarter. Victor is playing solid for the most part. Harper's hitting shots. And you kind of don't want to get away your game plan, but you got to switch things up. You should have did what you did in game 3, going to inside the Victor, in which when you did that way, you won by double digits. Just about, I think. I had to go look back and look. So then the OG tipping happened when Victor and Fox trying to double team Brunson at the top of the key, and credit to Brunson, he got that shot off right there. But then OG, when he tipped that ball, what were your thoughts when OG got up there? Did you think that tip was going in your eyes? Because I thought like, ooh boy, I don't know if he's gonna try to dunk it or tip it.
I thought it was definitely going at me. I think my thing is that's what I mean by earlier. I was saying the Knicks kind of controlled this series. It just seemed like they had full control of how they move throughout this whole series, because you had players have spotlights where they played well. For the Knicks, you had Bridges play well. Bridges would come out. I'm sorry, Ananobi would come out and play well also. But I definitely thought once he had that tip, I thought that definitely was going in. I mean, I knew it just seems as if most of the Knicks players played with a hell of a lot of confidence. And that's what they kind of roll with. Shooting extremely well, field goal percentage. It seems as if they were giving Spurs issues, man. And when the Knicks had a chance for second chance points, they took advantage. I mean, I don't think you really had Victor have a double throughout that whole series, which is we're used to him seeing. We're used to seeing him get an average of 11 or 12 rebounds a game. I mean, he was sitting there averaging maybe 8.5, maybe 9 rebounds a game throughout this series, and that's because the Knicks would clean up the glass.
Yeah, and it's not like Victor. It's not like Victor was going against like Dennis Rodman, Draymond, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal. Who else I could think of? Dwight Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Prime Andre Drummond. All those type of guys. I'm going to the type of guys. I mean, Carl. I mean, he's a fine rebounder, but I mean, he's not. I mean, he don't scare me to death.
No.
If I box him out, even myself at 6'2", I'm not really scared of Carl. If I had to go box him out, for a good minute, I'm like, okay, man. I see you play well enough. Like you ain't the most physical motherfucker ever out there. Excuse my language.
Right.
But Mitch Robinson, a little bit different story. But if you seen the past couple games, if you get up and down the court just a little bit, you get him gassed.
Yeah, big time.
Hell, I thought with his man's in attendance in Game 3, and well, I mean man's it Donald President Trump, who side note, I, you know what? Conspiracy theory, put my hat on. I don't got a hat near me. I don't say this D Lock. If he didn't show up in Game 3, I'm not saying the Spurs would have won that game, but I think he just threw the juju vibes off.
Yeah.
In the first one.
The attention, yeah.
It's like the vibes were off. They're like people were bitching and moaning because they blocked off that major part around the garden, all that stuff. Central Station, all that. They blocked that off. And a lot of folks were complaining about that. No watch party around there. I mean, they had them around the city and whatnot. If y'all see Instagram or X, whatever, Facebook, they had people had watch parties in Harlem and Central Park and all that good stuff, Brooklyn and wherever.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think he kind of killed the vibe a little bit. Him short. And I said this, I think last week or so, talking about this. I understand that he's a New Yorker. I know that. I know he's been playing these games in his lifetime. I get that. It's why now. And then on top of that, many times you shitting on the NBA. The times you gone back and forth with LeBron, Steph, and others. Like, come on, dog. Be consistent. If you're gonna talk shit, talk shit. If you will be stay on your words, stay on your words.
On your toes, yeah.
Some of y'all don't know or new to the show. I'm an Alabama fan. But he rolled down there to Tuscaloosa to watch Alabama LSU. I'm not saying it brought bad juju vibes, but we saw how that game go.
Mm-hmm.
I was coaching a game that day, and one of the rec people said, "Hey, man, LSU about like 35-0 right now."
Mm.
No. Mm-mm. We're talking about the Joe Burrow squad.
Yeah. One of the greatest teams ever.
So we talking about that. No crew players. So if y'all know, y'all know. But back to here, I think they could have swept them boys if he didn't show up and brought the bad vibes.
Everything changed that game. I think, him obviously, they doing a national anthem and they showing them, and folks are booing. I think obviously, literally everybody had to get patted down going through, probably double or triple patted down going to the arena. So it probably played a huge part. And the Spurs got that one, and then it just even in that game, it seemed as if the Knicks kind of controlled that game for the most part. They were kind of in control of a lot of things, and now you they get one of you come back and have, and it's the NBA Finals, right? These games are going to be close, so you're going to have both teams fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that knowing, okay, we don't went to San Antonio, we got 2 games, we already got the home court advantage. The Spurs are going to bring their best. The Knicks kept fighting back, when it came to those last possessions, and that's what made this NBA Finals so impressive. Is you go to San Antonio first couple games, you go get those. Come home, obviously. New York haven't had a series in NBA Finals in a while, so this is the first time. The pressure's there, X, Y, and Z. Now the president is showing up. So now you're making things super big. You know what I mean? And they still found a way, knowing that Victor was going to have that team ready. We watched what happened when they played against OKC, and they found a way to fight back in the Western Conference Finals. So that was what was expected of um, the Spurs, and the Knicks were prepared for it. They like I said, I think Brunson maybe had maybe one kind of off game, but outside of that, um, the Knicks played very well. Like you said, it could have been a sweep. A lot of times that's what we were thinking. They got 2 games in San Antonio. I was like, I don't think it's coming back to San Antonio. You know what I mean? But the Spurs did grab one, um, and they closed it out. I mean, Nunby played extremely well at the end. Um, Bridges, I think he had some spots. You didn't get too much from the bench as much as I was expecting from Deuce McBride, but your guys came in and did their job, played a huge role. They let one get away, obviously, like you said, possibly a big distraction. After that, they got back to it.
I, and, and I think like this. Once they took those 2 games in San Antonio, and the way they came back on each game, like every time they went down, they came back. Like every game in this finals, the Spurs had them down, but the Knicks came back. Like each first quarter, you can clock it. And I think I forgot who I saw the stat from, whatever, but each first quarter for the Spurs, their shooting percentage just goes down for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Down. I don't know what it is. Like that first quarter for each game, you got Julian Champagnie hitting shots, Stephon Castle hitting shots, Victor hitting shots. Darren Fox getting his buckets. When Dylan Harper comes in, he getting his shots. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Vazel, if he's on, he's on.
Mm-hmm.
If those guys making their shots, they making their shots. And then as the game go on, and you adjust as a coach on the Knicks side of things, who's still gonna be hot? Is Champagne gonna still be hot? Is Darren Fox gonna be hot? Is Stephon Castle gonna still be hot?
Mm-hmm.
Can he continue this up? Is Dylan Harper continue to be hot? Is Victor? Can we slow him down? Make things difficult for him?
Right.
Vassell. If he's on, he's on. If he's not, he's not. And on top of that, he turned the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
So, I think for this young Spurs team, they got to figure things out. We'll talk about more deep diving there for a second. But, the Knicks win this game 5. They won 94-90. First championship since 73. D-Lock, the Knicks, you talking about different areas for the Knicks. You talking about Walt Clyde Frazier. Then you talking about Bernard King. Then Patrick Ewing. And then sprinkle a good couple years of Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's just like just bad management, bad coaching, bad contracts, front office drama, ownership. And I don't know if you peeped this during the championship celebration. James Dolan, I don't know if you saw this or not, when he But Ernie Johnson was talking to him. You know what this fool said? This fool said, I kind of blame myself for only have one championship for this time period.
Mm.
If you're a Knicks fan and you're on a high right now, and you happen to hear that, that would probably kill your buzz if you
Yeah,
really pay.
it definitely would.
Like, we know the Dolans, they got money. They own the Garden, the Knicks, all that money and stuff like that, and the one championship.
Mm-hmm.
One. I'm surprised that jackass kind of admitted that on TV like that.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, what was the point of it at that point?
I'm kind of surprised he admitted that. Like, damn dog, I thought you'd be saying, "Well, I finally got one." Damn.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of my fault. You know, we only won one championship in 53 years. Damn. You don't say.
Probably felt like he could say it after they won one.
And what I had to look it up with his age. His age is like what, 72, 73?
Mm.
So he's already in his 70s.
Yeah.
Man. But I'll say this. I'll give him credit in this. When the players went to him last year, we talked about this. And we kind of like had our suspicions, like, could this work or not? When they got rid of Tom Thibodeau,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some reports saying out there that if the players want to keep Thibodeau, it would have happened.
Yeah.
But I think it was enough stake that he was kind of get off the Thibodeau train and get somebody else in there. And once those guys say, we kind of want Tibbs gone, we like him, but we kind of want him gone, then that's how we got Mike Brown in place.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you this, pose you this question about Mike Brown. How will his legacy be after winning this championship?
I think historically he's already been part of multiple championship winning teams. But him now leading the Knicks to the first title in over 50 years, and that's going to play a huge role for him. I mean, I don't think they're done, to be honest. I'm not going to jump ahead and say they're going to win back to back, but I think um, this is a prime example of how important coaching is. This is basically the same exact team, the year before, and they got there this year with a new coach, with a different philosophy, how he approached it, and he's been in winning franchises.
Yeah.
So now, he goes somewhere where obviously the pressure is on. Hell, I remember playing against Atlanta. They lost, and people were saying, hell, if they get put out that first round, Mike Brown possibly could be replaced. So you go from that to now being remembered forever, in the Knicks franchise historically. So to me, this is definitely going to help his legacy. Um, I'm not going to say it's the same thing as Mark Jackson putting that team together in Golden State and then Steve Kerr winning, but I think that you take a coach that has the the history of winning, um, and he finds a way. Not only he finds a way, but he does it at a very prestige franchise, the New York Knicks. Right, the pressure is to win every year. Um, you know, eventually, we were talking about possibly Giannis being moved. Is New York a possibility that where he can go? Right. If they're gonna move, if Giannis is gonna go somewhere, New York would be opportunity, a place. Obviously, Carlton Towns or whoever can be in that possible trade if this team does not make it. Now that has happened, now the Milwaukee and Giannis thing is obviously not being talked about.
No.
So with all this pressure, is what I'm saying that he's is what he dealt with is um got the same team. We hired you to get it done. Obviously, if things don't happen, we don't hit those expectations, we're gonna make some adjustments. Um, and it being the pressure of being the first team in 50 years for New York to win a title. So I think that proves a lot. Now, I wonder, how does this team is pretty solid. How do they think health is everything? And that's what Mike Brown did with his team is keep him healthy. We talked about it with Tibbs. I mean, we already know how his teams have been in the past. They do play a lot of minutes. I mean, I think what we seen this year was a little different philosophy. Like you did see Carl Anthony Towns play a good amount of minutes, Jalen Brunson, but you've seen all these other guys come in and help out big time. Shamit, I believe, had a hell of a series for the minutes that he had. Right. Didn't see too much from Deuce McBride, but Shamit came and stepped up. Jose Alvarado, he came
Yeah.
in when he needed to, hit a couple of threes when he needed. Right. So if you got these guys coming off the bench playing well, your starting five is gonna do their job with the minutes that they had. We've seen Josh Hart play extremely well, being the rebound king throughout this whole series as well. So now, because of that, your Jalen Brunson, your Karl Anthony Towns, these guys are not having to play 40 plus minutes a game, right? These other guys are coming in, they're playing well. I mean, we seen the first game of the series, Jalen Brunson's hurt, right? He finds a way to play better, but now these other guys are coming in and contributing. So I think that plays a huge part in coaching. Adjustments need to be made. You had Mitchell Robinson come in and contribute when he needed to. He grabbed a very huge rebound yesterday. A couple of them, might I add, to seal the victory for the Knicks. So to me, the philosophy, the coaching aspect played a huge role. Mike Brown, like I said, I think he definitely deserves his flowers for that because he came in and took this team and obviously looking at it like, damn, we talked about it in the preview. This is a very talented team. There's no reason why this team shouldn't be in the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And they get there, and he finds a way to, like I said, now they're healthy. They get to that place with the team that they have. Um, they showed that they clearly were a better team. You add that roster and the coach behind it, I think that's a great combination. Um, so I think this definitely helps his legacy. It's going to show, what kind of coach he is because he's been to the NBA Finals before. He's also won as an assistant. So now you take him, and he takes one of his most historic franchises, um, and you take a pretty well put together team, and you go out there and you give a gentleman sweep to the Spurs with a very young and talented Victor Wembanyama on that team and a very solid young team in the Spurs. So to me, um, I'm interested to see how many more can he add on to his resume. Um, but kudos to Mike Brown, big time. I mean, he came in and showed for those that do coach and for those that do, play, like coaching matters. That philosophy, that you know, the way they run their team, the put together of that, your assistants, your philosophy through your team, it matters. He's seen what happened with him last year, and he made a slight adjustments with the same exact team, and he got it done.
I think for me, in his legacy as a head coach, if we're going to be real, Mike Brown got some raw deals in his head coaching journey. Let's just put it in perspective. I'm not saying you can find a reason to fire a head coach in the NBA. I'm not saying that. You can. But there's sometimes with him, there's always some. It's like if they fall short of expectations, then the next year, it's like so heavy that if you don't start off great, then he's gone. I kind of look at his time with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think I don't know. I don't know if it's the players. Kobe, went to one of the buses and said, "Hey, man, I want this guy gone, whatever." But I just think his time with the Lakers and how that roster was constructed and all that stuff, I think he kind of got a raw deal. And then you bring in Mike D'Antoni, and that
Mm-hmm.
didn't work out. So it's just like it's like a big old wash during that time period, especially in Kobe's, you know, Kobe's last couple years of like I want to say like strong playing years.
Right.
The second stint in Cleveland, they let him go quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I just think every head coaching spot, like I think he just got like a raw deal for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
I think the
Now,
biggest.
go ahead, go ahead.
I think. Um, I think he was in a similar situation with the Knicks as he was with the Lakers. Difference is this team won that year. His first year in. Um, you know, these historic franchises, they want to win now. San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers, the New York Knicks. They have the expectation of winning now. Um, you go to, like you said, you go to Lakers, you get a chance, and it's not too much time. Then you go to Cleveland, back to Cleveland. Um, you don't get too much time there. And then you go to Golden State as an associate, and they go win championships there. You know what I mean? I have this thing right where I feel like winning follows. Well, winning follows winners. Meaning that if a coach is a winner, if a player is a winner, they will find a way where they are.
Yep.
He is a winning coach. He has found success, whether he was a head coach or an assistant. He's been to the NBA Finals um, before. This is a person that knows what it feels like to get to that to the top of the mountain. You know, um, and this team gave him a shot. They felt like they had a pretty solid roster. They had a coach with the experience, and they say, well, hey, we want somebody that's going to come in now and is going to be ready to make a difference now. This is that missing piece, right? And that's what they got. They felt like it was a missing piece. Um, and he played the role well. I mean, he came in and he implemented his philosophy. So to me, the Kings, let's not forget when the Kings had a hell of a year when he was there. I believe it was what 2023. I think they were what ranked in 2023 or 2022. They were like top 2 in the West at some point. They were doing very well. So this is what I mean by these expectations and bringing the energy of a winner to your program or to your franchise, and that is what he brought um, to each one of these programs. So to me, um, having a short stint with the Lakers, having a short stint with the Cavs, then you go to Golden State, say, okay, cool, I won't be a head coach, I'll be an associate. This roster is a pretty well put together roster, but associate, he's still implementing his philosophy and what he believes, and got 2 championships out of it, actually 3. So to me, um, hiring him, they felt like he was a missing piece, and they got it right.
Yeah, like the Sacramento thing. His first season, he took that team to the playoffs for the first time since 2006. I graduated high school in 2006. That's a long damn time ago. If you're a Sacramento fan, you have to see this or clip it or whatever. Look at, like, after that 2006 season, think about all the coaches, think about all the lottery picks, the ownership change, all that stuff. DeMarcus Cousins, Tyreek Evans, trading for Jimmy Fredette, Jason Thompson, Tyler Honeycutt in the second round. Who else in the second round? Isaiah Thomas. You didn't keep him around for the long term. Like all those guys you brought into that franchise. Francisco Garcia, and others. And he got y'all to the playoffs that first year. And then, De'Aaron Fox come to his own with him. Now, there's been reports saying that De'Aaron Fox may have got tired of him at Mike Brown and wanted him gone. And then next, De'Aaron Fox wanted out and he got traded to San Antonio. And side note about De'Aaron Fox, when we talk about the Spurs, young roster and stuff like that, a lot of people kind of tend to forget, De'Aaron Fox been in the league for a good while. But this trip in the playoffs, this is his second time in the playoffs. I know he's like, 28? This is De'Aaron Fox, like, going to the NBA Finals, all this stuff. This is the second time he's been to the NBA Finals. I mean, NBA playoffs. So, yeah, he's a veteran in a sense, but you're talking about playoff-wise, he's still trying to get used to that as well. So, you kind of factor all that with the Spurs and, the first time at that group as a group, Victor's first time in the playoffs, all those guys, the first time, Mitch Johnson, all that stuff. De'Aaron Fox, second time in the playoffs, experience right there. Compared to the Knicks, Mike Brown, been to the finals as a head coach. Coach multiple All-Stars. Was an assistant coach under Steve Kerr, like you alluded to. Get this squad here, like you mentioned about Tibbs and stuff like that. Kind of, looked at as, okay, all right, the guy, all right, I looked at it, okay, this is what I can do with the guys over here, cut down the minutes, play Mitchell Robinson a little bit more, get the other guard rotation going, Shamet, McBride. I think I've got the one little guard he's playing early season, get him on the rotation, stuff like that. Clarkson, all that stuff. And get that going. And for the most part, it worked better for these players.
Yeah.
They hit all teams hit a rough patch, and the Knicks ain't as often that. But when they kind of woke up in that Atlanta series and whatnot, they're rolling.
Yeah.
They were kicking ass. People can say what they could think about the East and stuff like that. You play who's in front of you. I don't care if they didn't get a chance to play Boston. Boston should have handled their business against Philly.
Yeah. Handle your
I
part.
don't care. Yeah. And I don't care about Joel Embiid being hurt. He stays hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We know that about Joel Embiid. That's who he is. I don't care about James. I mean, James Harden not playing well. We've seen that story before with James.
We know it.
And also on the side note, that James Harden got that bullshit arrest down in Houston the other day. I hope that gets thrown out because if you're in Texas, y'all can't preach, we got guns everywhere in Texas and then arrest somebody for a gun charge. That seems ridiculous to me. But anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You play who you play in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Me, you had the Orlando Magic going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I thought the Magic gonna beat Detroit and I was like, damn, they're gonna beat Detroit.
Find a way. Yeah.
They'll find a way. And then get against Cleveland, and then we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes if they match up against Cleveland. Who knows? But it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like play who you play in front of you.
You get it done, yeah. And I think we've seen it throughout the whole playoffs. The Knicks were just on the roll. You know what I mean? They were not taking the L's at all. And I think, like I said, the biggest thing is Mike Brown figured it out. He started putting the guys in rotation to where you need Karl Anthony Towns for 40 plus minutes. You had Mitchell Robinson to play a good amount, and also will play a huge role that played a good part for them was Josh Hart. Josh Hart was hustling every board off the glass. So this needing Karl Anthony Towns to get you 10, 11 boards a game, you didn't need. Because now you got Josh Hart grabbing everything off the glass as much as with Mitchell Robinson. So when you clean up the glass, then not only you clean off the glass, but now you're not relying on Jalen Brunson to make everything off everything. You got Bridges who's coming in who was quiet the first round a little bit against Atlanta, and then he just got hot. Anunnaby, who we know is going to play great defense, came up there and made some very key 3-pointers throughout this whole series. So this team put it together very nicely. I mean, I think they were in rhythm. The chemistry worked. It started the confidence started to build. I know now the pressure was on because it is New York, right? Well, what's going to happen? What? This seems too good to be true, and that's probably one of the first thing they thought when Jalen Brunson kind of got hurt the first game, but they found a way through that, right? So this your team goes as the captain goes, and you get the right leader there. I think it plays a very big role throughout this franchise. Now, college and pros, I think is a little different, obviously, because college you're probably these athletes are not the same age as you in college, and they're not making as much money as some professional basketball, football players. But at the same time, you get the right leader there that they respect, that they listen to and look up to. He's gonna get them. He's gonna get them there. And they believe in too. And that's one of the things I've seen all this whole NBA Finals. Even at side note, even at NCAA college track and field championships this past weekend, a lot of people that won, a lot of results, a lot of the athletes said, "Believe in my coach and trust into. I trusted my coach." Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the same thing that we got with Mike Brown and the New York Knicks. Is they trusted Mike Brown and that staff. Um, it played a huge role. Obviously, you got father son with Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson there. That obviously that helps, but trusting Mike Brown and that staff um, played a big role for them. They kind of tuned out all the noise, um, start getting on the roll against Atlanta, and start dropping, just getting easy wins. I mean, they made this playoff series look very good. I mean, make them look like they're one of the better teams, one of the better historic NBA Finals teams, because we know the expectation of the Cleveland Cavaliers with James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and they made that series look pretty smooth as well. Then they go and have to deal with San Antonio, who we know that they just took off, they just took down the defending NBA Final champs, right, and the two-time MVP in the SGA. So they're coming in very hot, motivated, and with confidence, you know. And they go to San Antonio and take 2 wins.
Mm.
So that is a big thing. And once that happens, your confidence is through the roof at this point. Now you're going home and it's like, oh yeah, we are feeling really good about ourselves. Um, and not only that, your captain and Jalen Brunson is playing out of his mind. So I say that I know, like I said, I've been on both ends before. I'm sure you have been as a player, as a coach. But trusting your coach is a huge thing, and it has to be somebody that they look up to and they say, hey, this person is this coach is done well, and we want to listen to everything that he got us doing. So to me, I think Mike Brown played a very big role um, in this championship. The team was very solid, and for him to put his own spin onto it, big kudos and congrats. And on top of that, Jalen Brunson played out of his mind as well.
Yeah, coaching matters, and Mike Brown finally got one.
Yes.
Like everything just kind of came together before we go to our first break. Everything just kind of came together for him.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about his past. You know, well, we got let go for Sacramento. Like a whole bunch of coaches stuck up for him off the bat. Mike Malone, Rick Carlisle, Steve Kerr. A lot of guys kind of like stuck up for him. Like, hey man, what are we doing out there in Sacramento? Like for real.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at look where Sacramento's at now again. Back in the
Yeah.
damn lottery. Well, I'd say it like this, but like De'Aaron Fox didn't make a damn dent like that in Sacramento. I mean, he's a fine player, but let's call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really make a big dent in there. I'm just going to put it out there. But look at where Sacramento's at now. You got bad contracts in DeRozan and Levine.
Mm-hmm.
Levine going to probably pick up his player option close to $50 million. Sabonis, he may be gone. You had some bad draft picks past couple of years. That Devin Carter kid, I don't think he played much at all this season.
Mm-mm.
If we're gonna be real,
Yeah, only with a few injuries come in, he played not often.
that seemed like a bad draft pick. Murray, he was out for a good majority of the year. Doug Christie, I don't know if he's a good coach or not. That I don't know.
Mm.
So it's just like, and yeah, Mike Brown went to a bad situation, yes, but if you let a guy like that go, and then you better hope the next guy behind him can play and it'll be better. But it don't look like that. So Sacramento's back in the drawing board, and Mike Brown got an NBA championship under his belt.
Yep, just that
Fine.
quick.
So we're gonna leave on that note. We're gonna take a quick break. On the other side of things, we'll talk about the Spurs. What can they do to get back to the finals next year? So put a cap on that. We'll we'll see, what can the Spurs do be better as a team going to next year. But this is Fast Break here, live for Sports Radio. You're the for all sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, broadcast. So this is for Fast Break here for iSports Radio, your direct for sports. As you can see there, do follow iSports Radio on X, YouTube, and also, let me pull this up here, which I'm sure it'll be edited here in the coming days. Do follow our Instagram page there, our brand new Instagram page. We're back on Instagram once again. That's at Fast Break at IESR on Instagram. So do give us a follow there. 17 posts thus far. Talking about the finals, posting final scores, all that good stuff. So do give us a follow there. Granted, yes, the finals are over, but things are still in motion. The NBA draft is upon us here soon. So be on the lookout for content with that. Yeah, for that, free agency is right around the corner there too. A lot of news coming up about that. Austin Reeves seems like maybe a hot candidate out there for a lot of folks. Giannis.
Oh yeah,
the Miami Heat. It may be a formality. They say they want the trade done after the finals is concluded. The finals is concluded. The parade is Thursday. We'll see, but new falls on here just in case that breaking news happened, and we'll drop that video right there as well. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel for IE Sports Radio. Subscribe. Try to get those numbers up. Once you subscribe, hit that bell notification. Once you get that bell notification, hit that bell notification. We'll go live every Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. You see our beautiful faces here every Sunday. Then follow us on X at Fastback ISR. Follow D-Log at Black-813. Myself at Spawn4288. Now I got all that out the way. D-Log, my question to you and the next subject here. What could the Spurs do better? What should the Spurs do to be better next year? First time Victor in the playoffs. First time Miss Johnson, the first time as a coach in the playoffs, full time. So, as a young squad, what can they do in your eyes to be better next year and perhaps win the NBA championship?
I mean, I'm looking at it to where they got the experience. Kind of remind me of when LeBron went with the Cavs a while back against the Spurs. A young LeBron who was going to be really good for a long time, as we know it. I think Victor is in a very similar situation to where he's going to be very good for a while. In my opinion, I think Victor could be be more consistent in his play. He's going to lead his team, right? The older he is, I think the better he is. Obviously, I think he gets stronger. I think that plays a huge part. But overall, so if you look at this team, right, they did beat OKC in the returning NBA champs. I think to make that next push is they're going to need a veteran to come in and play a huge role in the leadership role. I think he has some good guys up in there. No knock to Harrison Barnes, those guys. But I think you need somebody to come in and get this team back on track. When they do have they go on these 12 to 13 runs, because every game this team was literally up by 10.
Mm-hmm.
They were kicking their ass in the beginning of the first quarter, but they could not maintain that. And I think that is just a little bit of lack of leadership. I did see somebody say that the Spurs are going to miss having Chris Paul around. Well, I mean, that could have been a person that played a huge part in the leadership role. But to me, Castle played well. De'Aaron Fox was iffy. He didn't play that good, in my opinion. Victor played pretty well for the time that he had. Now you need a little bit of veteran presence there. That team's a very young team. So you're gonna need to have that veteran that can continue to maintain this team. So for me, because like I said, Kendall Johnson, we barely see him through this NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Him being Sixth Man of the Year, awarded that. I was expecting more. We really didn't see him too much in this NBA Finals. So to me, I think that what you can do is get you some more veterans there, veteran presence, and continue to build around what you have. I think you got, to me, the guys that are not tradable, Victor, Castle, and Dylan Harper. I think those three are your guys that you probably are not going to move. Everybody else is probably I guess movable. But this is a young team, man. And that's what you need, is the consistency and a little bit of veteran and experience. I think experience is one of our best teachers. I mean, they got some experience. They understand what it feels like to go to the championship and what is going to expect. Because as good as the Knicks did play, some of these, I think it was like 2 games where it was just like 1 or 2 possessions that, some little easy turnovers that cost them, a game, in my opinion. You
Yeah.
know, they could have, if Victor doesn't turn the ball over, I think once or twice, De'Aaron Fox obviously with that layup, but I think because of them being in the position of being up 10, up 12, up 29 at some point, those are games that you close out. I think that's the biggest thing that we've agreed to is yes, you can say De'Aaron Fox should have took the shot. Yes, you can say Victor turned the ball over. But let's look earlier into those games. How did they even get in that situation? And being up 15, up 20, you guys need a vet to calm that down when Miami do go on a run. Oh, I'm sorry, New York or whoever goes on a run, right? You got to be consistent with that. So to me, experience, um, also coaching experience, right? Now
Mhm.
Mitch Johnson is going to learn from some of the decisions that he made during the game. Like you said, you're seeing that lead dwindle down, bro. You got to call a timeout. You got to sell this in. You got to calm this down because it's they're going on a run and it's just disappearing. I think it was probably game 3. Well, I think was it game 3? Yeah, game 3 where the Knicks were going on a run at halftime, and if it wouldn't go to halftime, the Knicks would have been up by damn near 15-20. So that halftime alone kind of calm things down. But as a coach, you got to make that adjustment. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Let me kind of tone this down a little bit. So I think he's gonna learn that from his own experience. Um, but I think you got your young pieces. Bring you a vet in. Bring you somebody in that's gonna help that presence of, hey, listen, guys, we're good. We got to continue, staying the course, because Denver Nuggets are gonna be back next year.
Yeah.
OKC is gonna be back next year. Let's see what happens with Houston, but Houston's going to be back next year. So the West is still going to be challenging. You're going to get the teams that are going to be ready to play, and the Spurs got to be ready for the fact that the teams are going to have their names circled on their schedule. Minnesota Timberwolves will be back next year, so these guys will come back. These teams will come back ready, and I think you add some veteran play in there, then you can see a team because I think Victor's going to be great for a long time. It kind of reminds me, not exactly how Giannis was when he first came in the league, but just the frame. After Giannis put on a little bit more weight and he started to dominate, that's who we see now. I think Victor is going to grow into that guy over time, the athlete. But I think experience is one thing that they need, and get you a veteran, some vets that can make the decisions when needed to keep this team calm down, because going up 15, going up 20 and finding ways to lose those games is not a good thing. Something's definitely missing. Um, like I said, Kendall Johnson really wasn't there too much this series. So hopefully those things change moving forward.
I'm looking at spot right now and looking at the Spurs for next year, what the salary and what the what guys are. You got Victor, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant. So kind of they're in their rookie deals. Now the next year that changes. You know, Castle, you're talking about 2027, 2028. That changes.
Mm-hmm.
Castle, Bryant, Harper, they got option deals right there. Victor, I think at that point will probably get an extension. He'll be a restricted free agent, but he'll get a damn extension, and that's no surprise there. And then Keldon Johnson will be an unrestricted free agent along with Julian Champagnie. Now with Champagnie, He has a team option for $3 million, which I think they will pick up in a heartbeat. So for next year. So those guys, Luke Cornett his deal don't expire, I believe, when I see it until 2028, 2029. So next year he's on the books for $10 million. Keldon Johnson, he's on the book for $18 million for next year. So expiring contract. I said this, D-Lock, to myself during game 4. In the second half, when the shots weren't falling and they weren't going inside the Victor, because he didn't play great in that second half, let's be real. I think we both can agree to that. But as a coach, you kind of okay, you're up 29. In this modern era of the NBA, leads disappear. I think we can agree to that. Leads disappear just like that. Having said that, though, you have sucked all the air out of that building. You had, well, besides the regular fans and the regular celebrity fans, if you know what I'm talking about, like Spike Lee, Ben Stiller, Hustle Man, Timothy Chalamet, Chris Rock, you get my point. And then you got the other, Taylor Swift had to, show her ass there and whatnot. Which another side note for tonight. Monica McNutt was not wrong what she said about Taylor Swift. Let's be real about that. All right. And shout out to Jalen Brunson to come out to protect her and say, hey, Monica McNutt is good peoples. But she ain't wrong. Like Taylor Swift is there, for the vibes and stuff like that. She ain't like the rest of these, like Spike and all them in the trenches for years. John what's that? The tennis player's name, McEnroe.
Yeah,
all those folks. Anyways, having said that, I was watching Game 4. I was like, damn, when the shots weren't falling and stuff like that, I was saying to myself, all the guys are off perimeter. And I know you can get away with a lot of stuff with Victor being down low and stuff like that. But I was thinking, like, damn, they need a 4-man.
Yeah.
They need a 4-man. I like Harrison Barnes, but I think we're kind of past him now.
That prime is out. Yeah.
This ain't the Harrison Barnes you were getting out of high school in Iowa. We ain't get that type of prospect anymore. Carter Bryant, he can grow into that, but it's gonna take some time, a little bit of time right there. I was sitting there watching this game, like the shots won't fall outside and stuff like that. They need a 4-man. Somebody that can get you a nice 15-footer, can drive the basket, kind of like an Eric Gordon type.
Yeah.
I seen some people throw out like OG and stuff like that. 4-man. OG on Anunoby is more of like a 3-man.
3 and D, yeah.
He's a 3-man. He's a small forward. In today's basketball, he can get away with playing the stretch 4 and stuff like that. But it must be real. In reality, he's more of a 3-man. Julian Sampani, let's be real, is more of a 3-man, not a 4.
Yep, agree with that.
I think with the current construct of the Spurs, with Victor playing, defense down low and how he center fields everything, you can get away with that for a stretch. But then when Victor goes out and you put a little Cornet in,
I get nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now you gotta see the holes on them. Ooh. So they need to find a 4-man. Who would that be?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know,
It'd be some decisions that they got to make.
I don't think. I know Giannis would like to stay East. I just throwing this out there. I don't know. They didn't want to do it, but hey, De'Aaron Fox, Giannis trade, throwing some first round picks. The Bucks need a point guard badly. If you want to throw another player in there, you can throw in Keldon Johnson's expiring contract.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna need to have somebody in there, like you said. That 4 position is gonna be needed, and you could make that move. Um, I just think that there is 3 people that you probably are not gonna move on from. Now you probably could choose either Castle or Dylan Harper, but you probably want to keep both of them. Keep both of them, and you keep Victor. And now, like you said, you move some pieces around because it was nobody else. It was nobody else down low for the Spurs except Victor.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter, what they went against a team that had Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns. So when Victor did get that break, I mean, Luke Cornett was grabbing maybe 2 rebounds a game. And like you said earlier, it's not like he was Shaq or Drummond in his prime down there. You're going against Josh Hart and Anunoby. Your 3 guys. And these guys were averaging 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game. I
Shouldn't
think it
be.
was a game where Josh Hart had what, maybe 12 rebounds and 3 points.
Yeah.
So you're grabbing all. You know what I'm saying? This is something that should be fixed. And yes, yeah, yes, Victor is going to be your guy, but now you're going to have to make um, some adjustments to make this team be a hell of a lot better because you can't just rely on Victor. I mean, because again, I think that he's going to be a person that play a huge role a long time moving forward. But to me, um, you got your young guys in Dylan Harper and Castle. They play hard. They're going to be wiser the older they get. But grabbing some other pieces are down there. Like you said, you got somebody like Kendall Johnson who is a 6-man of the year. Use that to your advantage. You know what I mean? Maybe you possibly move on from that. I mean, I go to looking at this 2021 Milwaukee roster that won championship, right?
Huh?
You had Giannis, you had Brook Lopez, and you had Bobby Portis. So you had you some guys, right? And this is just in the 4th position. You had your 2 guys and Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, and then you have Giannis, and you had PJ Tucker. So you had you some guys that can come in, and play a role. Not only that, you had Torrey Craig, who can be technically your 3 or your 4. He can come in and play. So that champagne role we're talking about, that's what the Torrey Craig role was for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They had the pieces for, listen, Giannis, we want you to get 33, 34 minutes a game. We know you're gonna dominate. But while you're out, Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, Brook Lopez, I need to see something. Now, Brook Lopez wasn't out there going crazy, but he handled his part, right? And then obviously, like I said, PJ Tucker coming down. I know how PJ Tucker was, the physicality that he brought, um, along with Bobby Portis, that did wonders for that team. So, and then you had your point guard and Drew Holiday, who was a captain who led everything. So, to me, um, this is a similar build that I'm comparing, and I'm thinking it needs to be probably very much similar to. because you have a player like you have a once in a life a once in a generational player like Giannis and Victor, but that doesn't mean that you need him to do everything for this team. So yes, you got, like I said, you got Victor, you got Castle, and you have um Dylan Harper. Now go get you some other people in there that can, you know, have that pocket at play, or they can come in and play the four, like you said, or come in and give Victor that rest, because Luke Cornett didn't get it done this series. It's just being honest. We didn't see Bismack Biyombo on there at all. So, to me, didn't do too much for you. So now you got to come back and reevaluate some things, especially if you want to be competitive throughout the West.
I look at free agents and guys at the 4 spot. A lot of older vets that I think, but then I get down the list. I get down the list. Trenton Walford, like true power forward, 25 years old. Now we'll see if Philly keeps him around. Then maybe see what Broom does. But if Philly lets him go, that's somebody you can pick up on the cheap. Say, hey, man, I'm not saying you're gonna start or not, but if you can give us some good minutes at the 4 spot, who knows how things shake out for you? I think my thinking is you remove either Vassell or Champagne to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I think they keep De'Aaron Fox for another year. That's this. If we're doing like a free agent prediction show, whatever, maybe next week, something like that. I'm saying right now, the Spurs are keeping De'Aaron Fox unless they get an offer they couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
They'll keep him around at least one more year until giving the keys to Dylan Harper. But Trenton Walford could be an option for them at the 4. Marvin Bagley. I know somebody probably see that and laugh, but not a bad player. Just never really find the right spot. But I think with this type of system, I think it could work. Left-handed guy can stretch the floor a little bit. More athletic. If you keep off, you start off the bench than Luke Cornett, that's another option you could throw out there.
Mm-hmm.
Who was I looking at? Preston Achua, 26 years old.
I like that. Yeah, that'd be a good pickup in my opinion.
Bad guy for four man right there. Trace Jackson Davis. So the options I throwing out here, these guys are cheap. These guys are cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta go back and look and see if they got the draft pick, but these guys are cheap. The 3 guys I named, they're cheap. Tari Eason, he's a restricted free agent. We'll see if Houston keeps him around, but if they want to go something like that, swing from the fences, that could be a solid move right there.
I think a lot of these players that we're looking at too, it's about the minutes that they get as well. These guys got to get in and get those opportunities. I think Precious is going to be a hell of a pickup if he do get the minutes. So a couple of these guys, they got to get in and get the minutes. Now, your guys again, I think it's your philosophy. It's how you put this team together. Yes, you want Victor to be the best player on your team still and have average 28-12, but allow him to get that break and get these other guys in when you do sign them, if you do sign them, right? Because they're gonna play that role to where hell, if he need a break, we talked about it with the Knicks and Tibbs. Tibbs will play that first five, that starting five, 40 plus minutes a game. And when he did that, not only you beating up your starters, but hell, your players off the bench ain't getting in rotation to get the chemistry. They're not getting that chemistry, not getting in. So now you look at a different coach, different philosophy. You're not seeing Karl Anthony Towns as much out there. You're seeing Mitchell Robinson come in a little bit and play a big role. You're not seeing Jalen Brunson play 40 plus minutes. You're seeing Deuce McBride come in and play a role, or Jose Alvarado. These guys are coming in to take the pressure off of your big guys. I think that is something that you're going to need to happen with Victor. He's young, yes. You can play him 40 plus minutes a game if you want, if you need to. But how these teams are built, that's not going to work.
No.
We talk about it with OKC. The depth on that team is insane. SGA just won the MVP, and the amount of minutes he played this year looked different than what he played the previous year. He still averaged the same amount of points, assists around the area, but the minutes was down a little bit. So it's your rotation of your guys. So like you said, there are guys out there. I just think that get them into that rotation. You're gonna have to do like we talked about. You have some depth in Harrison Barnes, Luke Cornett, and these guys, but they're not giving you anything. They're going out there and they're giving you 2 rebounds a game, and maybe a 3-pointer here or there. That's not doing anything for your team and Victor when it comes to, because now we've seen it in the NBA Finals. Once the Knicks started to pull away or turn that 3-point lead into a 9-point lead or a 10-point lead, they brought Victor back in the game. His break couldn't be that long. Now they're stretching to get points. So you got it. Your depth has to play a big role. And we see it all the time. Players go to different teams and it's like they just need a new scenery and they play a hell of a lot better. So maybe that's something that is definitely needed for some of those players. But as you said, man, I think grabbing some of these free agents or somebody is going to play a role for this team moving forward, because the West is pretty deep and it's not changing.
And then even going back to the series, how yeah, in the playoffs you shorten your bench and whatnot, but it says a lot that you throw Luke Cornett in there, and he can give you good 5 minutes for Victor for a break.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't throw the other 3 big dudes in there, because what have they really done in their NBA career? No shade to them.
Nothing.
They made their money. They saved pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, you've been in the league so long that even in a good 5 minutes, I can't throw you out there to do something do something for me.
Nope. What are we doing with that?
Something else.
Yeah.
But like I said, look at what the Spurs can do better. Mitch Johnson, hopefully he grows as a coach. I think that's the key thing one right there. He's got to learn from his mistakes, because, like I said, there's some days he did well on this playoff run, and then some things, he kind of look, okay, first year, first time in the playoffs, you learn how to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
So
you adjust you adjust to some of your decisions, but that's going to play a huge role. Also, I'm looking at the roster now. Luke Cornett, we didn't see too much from him. Kelly Olynyk, we forgot this dude was even on the team when you see him. Bismack Biyombo, what did we see from him? Mason Plumlee. Now these are your bigs. I'm looking at them. You got 1, 2, you got 4 centers, right? And they could not contribute especially against a team that has two bigs that are Carlton Towns and Mitchell Robinson, right?
Mhm.
So these guys got to contribute. Now, obviously, Kendall Johnson, we could have expected more, but you're not subbing Kendall Johnson as much for Victor. This is why your other three centers are here, three or four centers. You need something from them. We've seen Luke Cornett, but it wasn't much. We didn't even see Kelly Olynyk. Didn't see Bismarck Biyombo. Didn't see Mason Plumlee. So you need more. Um, I just really, really interested to see how they draft and how this offseason go for them. Um, to see how they make their adjustments because it definitely needs to be made.
Now I'll add this, before we close the show. I'll add this about the Spurs. For Victor, he's got to get a little stronger in the weight room. I think he's got to learn that you can't block every shot. And sometimes playing good defense, I said this like sometimes playing good defense have your hand straight up. You can't. I know you're 7'5" and you think you do everything, block every shot, steal every ball, stuff like that. But sometimes it's moving your feet, being agile, just
Mm-hmm.
playing good, solid man-to-man defense for 5 seconds. They give up on you because you're big. They think like, damn, I can't get passes through. They pass it off. So for Victor, I think he got to get stronger. Get a post game. Get some moves.
Yeah.
Work with Tim Duncan. Work with David Robinson in off season. I'll be honest with you. Another person, I don't know if he would do it or take the time to mentor him. But if he can, talk to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a big if, because you know how Kareem, can be, shaky. Iffy. But
Mm-hmm.
if he can learn that sky hook,
He has everything. He has a lot already. You add, some more, like you said, some more uh shots to him and moves, he's gonna be unstoppable. Like I said, I told you that video when I tried to dunk an rim. It was like right there when I brought it down. I said, "Well, hell, this has got to be what Victor feels like. The rim is damn near to his fingers. So he has everything there. You just add onto it. So, like you said, he can be uh dominant. Just be dominant. And I see. I watch Giannis play. Right, we've watched plenty basketball games, but watching Giannis play, it is clear that he is the best player on the court. It's very clear. It's
mhm,
clear he is unstoppable. Right, he is undeniable. He can damn near shoot everything. The only thing, obviously, he probably is going to work on over time is obviously free throws and the 3-pointers. Those are the things that Victor has right now. So if you add more, if you can mix a little bit, add some of what Giannis has inside to Victor, dude, we might be talking about somebody that is gonna literally be unstoppable because he's damn near there now. Like I said, looking at what he's doing, these putbacks, like I said, my opinion, getting the weight room, which you see a lot of pro Hall of Famers do anyway, after losing their first NBA Finals or losing, they tend to get better over time. So I think that's going to happen. But like you said, go get some more moves, add that onto your game. So then when you do come in and get those minutes, dude, you're walking away with 25, 30 points again, a clip easily.
yep,
You know what I mean? It's already something that's brewing. So now it makes it easier for them to say, well, hell, all we're gonna do is bring in some quality guys that can come in and take some of the minutes when you are on your rest because you're going to dominate when you're on the court. And that's what Giannis brings to the table. That's why teams are probably going to try to find a way to trade for him because they know once Giannis is on the court, he's going to give you what he is. You're getting that from Victor. I just think that, like you said, he can add more onto his game. And then the Spurs, they put some more pieces around him. Um, I think they'll be fine. It's a few players that are in that range, right? Another one obviously in that range is the Joker. When he's on the court, he can do damn near anything he wants. But now, what did they do? They go grab Joe Val and say we need another big to be here to replace him for a little bit and give him some time. So, hopefully the Spurs take that approach. Look over this season. Get ready for next year. They'll be fine. But now you're gonna have to make the adjustments because you're gonna have to run through OKC again, Minnesota again, Denver again. You got to be prepared for that.
So we'll leave it on that note. The Spurs, like I said, next week is the NBA draft on June 23rd, 24th, next week. So next week on this show, we'll be talking about the NBA draft, give our draft predictions, all that stuff, who can be moved, all that stuff during the draft, all that stuff. Giannis, John Morant, what do like the NBA champs and the runner-ups do come draft
Mm-hmm.
time? OKC, they got a whole bunch of draft capital. This is one of those drafts that you can probably try to move up and get better. The Lakers, what they do, they're always in the news for something. Denver, I've been seeing stories about them trying to offload Christian Braun, even though they gave him the max
Mm-hmm.
deal, and trying to keep Aaron Gordon, and they're trying to resign Watson. That's a lot of heavy lifting right there. What does Minnesota do?
Yeah.
Washington, AJ DeMisto, do they stay there? There's rumors about Anthony Davis possibly getting moved again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of news out. I mean, a lot of things going on. And I don't know if you saw the graphic last night, but since 2019, there's been a different NBA champion for the past 8 years.
Yep.
Starting with the Raptors, Lakers, Bucks, and so on. So I think, what Silver wanted many years ago as a deputy commissioner, he wanted the hard cap. Well, we got that now with the first apron, second apron. Now you got a little bit parity in the NBA. And now, if you're a team in the NBA, the Spurs can come back next year and win it.
Mm-hmm. Got the chances.
The Knicks could repeat. But, as we've seen in the past 8 years, somebody else might sneak up and win the championship. Could be Cleveland. Could be Orlando Magic. Oh, before we get out of here, I kind of waited to do this. What are your thoughts on the new Orlando Magic head coach? And how you think he's going to fare with your squad?
I think he's a good piece. I mean, like I said, I think him having history working with Giannis kind of makes me think they're going to try to make a move, for him. Now, how does that work? What do you have to give up to get him? But I like Sean Sweeney. I think, like I said, I think you hire somebody that is on a team that has been playing, pretty well. Young guy now. My biggest thing is let this guy cook. Let him put his team together. We are not the New York Knicks or the Los Angeles Lakers who are expecting a title right now. Put him, let him put his squad together. So to me, he's a young guy, somebody that we kind of can move with and build forward with. He's 42, 43. So he's a young guy. Like the history that he has, working with the team that he has. But to me, now you just need to let him coach. Give him the time to be able to set up his team. Don't get to the end of this year or next year and say, well, we're not moving fast enough. We got to make some changes. Let him put his team together. Now, like I said, working with obviously Giannis in the past, and a couple other guys, um, you have a future in Banchero. Can you build around that guy and do you add other pieces? I'm pretty sure you've been seeing the videos of Kyrie twirling all on Instagram, Twitter for the past couple days or weeks. He's looking pretty healthy. Um, one thing that we been talking about a lot is the lack of a point guard play in Orlando. So is that something that you look into? Um, because let's see what Dallas is gonna do. So to me, I like the move. Um, but again, like I always say, man, I want the front office to give them the chance to win. Give them a chance to win. Give them a chance to actually succeed. Don't put him on a short leash as if he needs to win tomorrow.
I like it. You getting somebody from that Spurs system that's always seemed like a good choice. So I like it. I think with your squad, I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do, in the offseason. Because they're one of the teams that, okay, you got Desmond Bain last year, and but then the help of Wagner didn't help. Bain missed some games, Suggs missed some games. So I think this is more of a health thing for the Magic. In the end, would you do some of that bloated contracts around there too?
Mm-hmm.
We gonna do with that, and do the young guys like Jed Howard, Richardson, did they finally get some time to shine and show their worth?
Yeah.
So I think it's like a lot of things the Magic can do to be better. And like you mentioned about, we talk about Giannis, the Miami Heat may be in the catbird seat to get Giannis. If you're the
Mm-hmm.
Magic, you could possibly sell them that you got a better package. I say if you look at the Miami side of things, Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, and some first round picks, is that going to cut it? Or if I'm gonna let the Magic, I say, hey, Wagner, the Wagner brothers, Jalen Suggs,
Mm-hmm. I was just about to say Suggs. Yep.
and if
Those
you can
some
find a way
draft
to
picks.
some draft capital, and you can find a way to throw in Jonathan Isaac in there,
Oh yeah.
and then maybe if you can get back Giannis, I don't know if his brother's under contract, but bring his brother along, and then if you can squeeze in Bobby Portis or Kyle Kuzma, because Kyle Kuzma is an expiring contract,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna just throwing this scenario out there, you're gonna land the matches looking like Wendell Carter, Giannis, Paolo, Desmond Bain, Anthony Black at the point.
Pretty solid team there.
Bobby Portis off the bench. Use your mid-level with somebody. You kind of cooking there.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's something that you have to consider. Trying to put the best team together. So he has a relationship with Giannis, and how does it work? Right? Like I said, we talked about Wagner and his injuries. Is that something that you want to deal with for another year, or do you move on from that? So, but again, like I said, to that question, I think it's a great, I think it's a great hire. Let's just give them the time to win, man. That's my biggest thing.
So we'll leave it on that note. On next week's show, NBA draft right around the corner, and then even with saying about that, there could be some big news happening sometime this week, possibly before the draft. We'll see. The Knicks parade's on Thursday. Now, so from time we end the show until that point, and then maybe after parade, some big news may drop. So if you're not following us on X on Fastbreak ISR, please do. D-Locke, how can people find you on social media?
You guys find me at Black-813. Now that the draft is coming up and these big trades, I definitely will be talking about those things because my Magic one, we got to see how we're gonna move forward. Try to be competitive in this East, man. So let them know they can find you on the show's page.
Like I said, show's page, Fastbreak ISR. That's Fastbreak ISR. Find me at Spawn4288 on X. Like I said, do follow our new Instagram page. Pull back up at Fastbreak at ISR. Right there, as you can see, the New York Liberty has won their part in the Players Cup right there. So shout out to them. I know we ain't talking about the ladies much, but like the finals and all that stuff been going on. I touched on Caitlin Clark just a little bit and all the drama going on with her because good Lord, why not? But anyways, do follow us on the Instagram page there. You'll see myself, D-Locke, and other insiders as well talking about basketball and a lot of heavy content coming to the draft. Like I said, so next week, we're previewing the NBA draft. Give our predictions, mostly for the lottery, and we'll go from there. If any breaking news happen during the show, we'll talk about it and all that stuff. And then free agency the next following week.
Oh, yeah.
So we're back to back here. So a lot of heavy contact here going on the month in June. Also, do follow ISO Sports Radio on X and YouTube as well. The World Cup is here. It's finally here. And we got our show here. Pull it up. Shin Pad and Shenanigans. Please do give them a follow. All your football for European fans and all over the world. Your football and here in America, soccer. Give Shin Pad and Shenanigans a follow on X and on Instagram as well. A lot of content going up. The playback on the YouTube shows as well, on YouTube as well. So do give them a follow. They've been hitting it hard, giving all this content about the World Cup. So do give them a follow, all that stuff there. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, next week, heavy show. Hope to see y'all there. Until then, talk to y'all later. Peace.
Let's go! Lace them up! Crowd loud! Like snow! This is Fast Break, IE Sports Radio! Your direct feed for all that is sports! Tipping off, we're live from the jump. Full court pressure when the baseline thump. NBA nights, WNBA shine. College hoops madness when it's bracket time. Men's game, women's game, every big take. One pass, one steal, one slam. Summer league dream fever, worldwide Olympic gold with the game on the line. From the paint to the three, from the post to college history. Every league, every team. Fast break brings that hardwood dream. Run the floor, let it fly. Touch the rim, kiss the sky. Every league, every take. Davidson, Crooks, and D-Locke on the break. From the court to the street. Bringing hoops with the heat. IE Sports Radio locked in. Of course, your direct feed for all that is sports. Dentarius, Locke, D-Locke locked in. Davidson, Crooks with the courtside